Welcome to Nerd Stop, your one-stop shop for all things nerd.
What's up, nerds, and welcome to Nerd Stop, your one-stop shop for all things nerd. My name is Josh, and I am joined by my two beautiful co-hosts, Spencer.
Hey there, hoarder, hey there.
And Michael.
Hey there, guys.
Alright, so we're just going to cut to the chase, and we're talking about Star Wars The Last Jedi today. I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to you guys, since you guys were talking about it last week, and I had to pretty much ignore you at all times whenever you talked about Star Wars. But I'm going to go ahead and give it to you guys and let you guys start off.
Alright, first of all, spoilers, if you haven't seen it, just don't listen right now.
Oh, yeah, huge spoiler warning. We're going to be talking about the entire movie. No remorse on this. Sorry, Mark Hamill.
But the first thing, I mean, even without spoilers, the first thing I can say is I just thought I love the sound design, I love the visuals. Like that set piece battle at the end with the red and the white. Oh my god, I thought that was like, again, part of my degrees in, media design and visual and stuff like that. That blew my mind. I thought that was so cool the way they did that. I could frame a frame from that and just put it somewhere. I thought that was great. And also the sound design I thought was awesome. The moment when I forget the name, the main Resistance cruiser jumped to hyperspace and went like through Snoke's dreadnought, when there was that moment of silence and then that cataclysmic noise, like I just thought I was in awe. My favorite sound in Star Wars so far has been Boba Fett or Jango Fett's like sonic bombs from Slave One. The whoop,
yes.
Whoa. But I fucking loved that. But then this, that scene, I topped it for me for sure. So not even talking story, I thought it was a masterpiece of visuals and sound.
No, I mean I can definitely agree there. Like you were talking about, the end piece was absolutely phenomenal. The whole end set on, what was that, crate? The minerals thing? Yeah, that was super cool. I definitely enjoyed that. I enjoyed the visuals throughout the entire movie. I'll bring in my gripes later, but that end scene was awesome, especially those little janky-ass land speeders as they were cutting through and they were throwing up the red dust with everything. It was definitely really cool visuals.
Yeah, I saw those janky-ass land speeders. Like, I can talk about ships later, too. I thought there's some really cool ships there, but those janky-ass land speeders, like, I saw the model collect, like, the Hot Wheel ship model things, and I saw that model, I'm like, that looks stupid as shit. And you know what? That was the point, that they're supposed to be janky and stupid looking.
They were Rebellion leftovers. They were left over from the original Rebellion in the original trilogy. Mike,
what do you guys say?
I'm going to say more on story, so, I mean, if you guys want to transition to the story now.
Okay, no, hold on. If we're talking about ships, if you're skipping the opening and just going right in there, okay, you talked about in the last episode me being kind of an aviation nerd, and I like the ship Star Wars. What is it, the FM-100? Is that the Resistance bomber? Like, I saw the model for it at first. I saw it for the X-Wing miniatures game come out, which I haven't picked up that model yet, and I picked up like the Hot Wheels model, and I thought, okay, this is kind of dumb. But seeing it in action, like, it's a Star Wars B-17 is what it is, and I mean, watching it, I went from like thinking, oh, here comes these stupid things, to like all of a sudden I have like flashbacks of watching World War II gun cam footage, and Sabaton's No Bullets Fly was playing in my head, and I thought that was so cool. Like, I love those bombers.
MG-100 Star Fortress.
Thank you.
That's what they were called. No, I thought those were pretty cool, too. I definitely like the whole, the retro thing with the bomb bays, because normally, like, we've seen in the past with, like, Y-Wings and everything, they use the whole proton bombs, which are just the energy things that shoot out.
These are energized proton bombs. These are proton bombs. They're just not energized. They're just catapulted out.
That's what I'm saying. They're more they're more conventional arms, and I thought that was a really cool thing. It shows a resistance. Like you see throughout the entire movie, the resistance is tiny now after everything was decimated by the Star Killer base, and you see the resistance is they're tiny. They're kind of on their last foot against the First Order at this point, even though the First Order just had this big base taken out. And I definitely think like those ships kind of showed it as well, along with the land speeders that we saw, because they were using those conventional bombs, which is something we don't normally see in Star Wars, is conventional weaponry.
Yeah. Yeah, there were leftovers. That's that. I mean, I watched the Meta Nerds lore video, another YouTube video I highly recommend if you're into that. Looking more into Star Wars lore. And that, yeah, they talked about that they built them for the New Republic, but once the New Republic demilitarized, they kind of ended up on the fringes, and then the Resistance found a bunch of them. But I thought they're just so cool. That's got to be my favorite bomber. I thought I was gonna hate them, but no, they've got to be my new favorite. One of my new favorite Star Wars ships. Period.
Yeah, that whole scene, that initial scene with the whole space fight and everything was all pretty cool.
Yeah,
I don't have many gripes there, except just in the kind of the beginning. But we will get into that later.
All right.
I have some complaints. I wasn't 100% sold on the new movie, but I'm pretty sure we'll get into that later, and we'll have a nice discussion, quote unquote, civil discussion.
Yeah. Preemptively, no, fuck you.
Wrong. Yeah, right. No, you.
No, Dad. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it a little bit before this, Josh, and I mean, I understand exactly where you're coming from, but I also I appreciate what it is, and I don't know. I guess I'm trying to not just compare it to the original.
Yes, very important.
For me, I will. It's a Star Wars movie. It's held up to the gold standard that the original trilogy set.
Yeah,
but,
which I mean is an understandable way to view it, but at the same time, I want to see the entirety of this new trilogy before I make any real concrete. How do I say it?
Opinions?
Not so much opinions, but just before I really cement myself into how I look at this new trilogy. I want to see all three of them before I can go back and say that, because I mean, like we were talking about before, the way that cinemas do trilogies now is different from the way that they did them back then. All three movies kind of come together. You get part 1, part 2, part 3, and then they combine into the overarching greater story. Whereas if you look at the original three, you could watch all three, and they are really good as standalone movies, but also really good as one big story. And that's kind of not what you see in trilogies anymore.
No, I think that all the current movies, both of the ones that have come out, are fine by their own. I think I could watch them. And that's the thing, when I watch these movies, I think a lot of the complaints that a lot of people that I've heard I don't have. But that's because I make it a point to try to, especially the first time I watch the movie, I'm appreciating it for its own, its own rating. I'm not watching a Star Wars movie in my head, although, I mean, there's definitely that element to it, but I'm not comparing it to, the first time I saw Episode IV. That being said, when the opening scroll started, I was just sitting there. I choked up a little bit, because I'm like, yes, another Star Wars movie that I get to see for the first time. I was, honest to God, moisture in my eyes, ready for this, and that probably is one of the reasons I enjoyed it so much more, because I wasn't trying to compare it to anything else. I'm just, fuck yes, a Star Wars movie, let's do this.
No, I mean, I can't.
You should go.
I can't say I didn't. Fuck, what was I gonna say? I mean, yeah, okay. So I went into the movie just excited because, it's a Star Wars movie. I wore this funky ass Star Wars Darth Vader shirt. I wore my sweet reppin' the Empire hat while I was there. I actually wore some comfy shoes, though. Nothing Star Wars related. But I wore comfy shoes because I took them off in the theater because the whole chairs are recliners. But that was pretty cool. Nice. No, I mean, I was super... Not gross. I didn't put my feet on them.
I said nice.
Oh, I thought you said gross.
Also gross.
Well, fuck you. No, but I went in super excited. Yeah, I viewed it as cool, this is another Star Wars movie. Of course I'm excited for that. I came out kind of disappointed with it. I think, again, we'll get into this conversation. I just want to hit, some of the main points with what we took out of it before we start debating, the whole execution and everything like that. So let's go ahead and just get into the story then. I'm going to let you, Spencer, start with this one.
The story, okay. So I need to do another watch because, like I said, the visuals and the sound and the space battles, that's what I was there for. So, I, had a lot of theories going in. Who's Snoke? What's going to happen to Kylo and Rey? But I wasn't expecting where it went. I was not. I didn't see any of that coming. The fact that Rey's parentage is nothingness, that kind of came as a stunner to me. A lot of people have been saying, "Oh, it's probably just bullshit. He's just lying." But here's the thing. I mean, I think that'd be cool because this is a whole new trilogy. We're going into the future, kind of with a sort of a fresh start, and having this character just come out of nowhere from nothing to mean something big. I think that's a cool element to the story.
Yeah,
Pissed me off too. Well, we can get into that if we want to talk about Rey's parentage first. But
on the story of Rey, I think it's a really cool direction for Star Wars to take because the original was Luke, who came
a farm boy from nothing.
He didn't come from nothing.
That's what people thought. That's what the audience thought up until the end of Episode 5.
Yeah. You found out he's from a strong bloodline of Jedi.
Yeah, he's from the Skywalker family, a family that kind of really fucked up everything.
Yeah.
To see that, and then to see episodes 1, 2, and 3, where Anakin was, the chosen one who brought balance to the Force, so on and so forth. We had one kid who seemed like he was nothing, who turned out to be, in the lineage of the Skywalkers. And then we find out the lineage of the Skywalkers is super crazy, and at very least, he was destined to do stuff, and quite possibly also created by the Force. So to see...
I think it was confirmed that Anakin was created by the Force.
Yeah, it was Plagueis.
He's
willed it or something, correct?
What was that?
It was
the theory that Darth Plagueis created him in order to destroy the Emperor, or destroy...
Yeah, I've seen the theories. I don't know. From what I've understood, it was kind of like...
Pseudo-confirmed?
Anakin was supposed to be... I don't think it was even pseudo-confirmed. It's just people have good arguments for it. But from what I understand, though, the intention was he was supposed to be like a messianic figure. It was kind of like a whole immaculate conception through the Force type deal.
Okay. Well, still though.
But the fact that Rey is nothing.
Yeah. I think that's really cool. She's not some special lineage. She's not some new savior or something along those lines. She's just a person who's Force sensitive. I think that's a really cool way to take it.
I think that's cool. Again, this is another one of those things that I'm split on. I think that's a cool idea because they're breaking from the tradition that the previous trilogies have set. I think that's a cool thing, but also at the same time, I'm watching a Star Wars movie. Maybe I guess I'm kind of like old-fashioned, but I'm watching a Star Wars movie. I still don't believe until we go through Episode 9. And she, no shit, has no ties to anything. I think Kylo Ren was a liar.
Okay.
I think Kylo Ren straight up lied to her to try and break her down and get her to join him.
I'll agree.
That scene... Go ahead. Okay, so that scene when he's talking to her and he tells her, your parents were drunkards, they sold you for drug money, blah, 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 essentially that. He was telling her, your parents were meth heads that sold you for more meth, essentially.
Yeah.
I think because in that scene he's trying to get her to come over to his side. Because it was just after they killed Snoke, which I'm pretty upset about that as well.
That
and
was
I'll talk
super
about that
anticlimactic, yeah.
I will talk about that in a second. So he was trying to bring her over to his side so she could be his right-hand man in the New Order, the First Order. What am I trying to get at here? Yeah, I think he was just lying at her to try and break her down and say, listen, I will make you great. Your parents were nothing, you are nothing. Come with me and you will be something. I think it was just a ploy.
Well, let's look at the parallels with Episode 5, because that's what Vader was trying to do. Join me, we will be the greater together. And that's when Vader told Luke, I am your father. I think that he's telling the truth because that's one of the best ways to get her on the side is to give her this massive realization that she secretly always knew, just like Luke secretly always knew who his father was. And the parallels there are too much for me to think that it was just bullshit.
But I don't know how.
I think
how does Kylo Ren know? My thing is, how does Kylo Ren know? We hear him say that he saw into the future.
Well, the First Order has a huge link to Jakku. First of all, so he probably just knows some shit about what's going on there, and two, just his connection with her through the Force. I think he can see more clearly what she knows than she's willing to admit for herself. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. Okay, kind of forcing yourself to not viewed the truth that you actually know, just kind of suppressing it.
Because
she doesn't want to admit that her parents just literally sold her.
Which deep down she already knew.
I do see what you are saying. I understand what you're saying. But let's flash back to the Force Awakens, right? So when Kylo first finds out that people escaped Jakku, he tells her, or he's told that there was a girl that escaped Jakku. You see in that movie, he has this moment of like realization almost that he knows who this girl is.
Okay,
Rey,
I'll
obviously.
watch that again.
So you can see like because he freaks out and he's like, who was the girl? Like he starts freaking out about this thing. Why would he panic if he was just if the girl was just some junker's daughter that was sold for drugs?
With that though, at the start, there's been an awakening. Have you felt it? It's safe to assume that Kylo Ren, being somebody who is noted to be powerful, would be able to sense, or at least feel that there were, or Rey was a Force-sensitive person on the planet, and maybe they're just scared of Force-sensitive people, period. Or not so much scared, just wary of, and don't want things that have happened in the movies to happen. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, teeny 20-something from a desert planet with Force powers doesn't end well for anything named the Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, when the Force Awakens, and there's people who become Force sensitive, or however that it worked, safe to assume that he would have felt it and known, I now know that there are Force sensitive people here, so on and so forth. And that the New Order would have First Order, New Order, would have done their due diligence in tracking down and finding these people.
Okay,
or at least
so,
identifying.
All right.
But at the end of the movie, we see the little Force-sensitive kid on Canto Bight, the casino planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a shit about this little kid. I mean, think if that kid was discovered. What happened with Anakin, little Force-sensitive kid in a shitty situation, turned into one of the Dark Lords of the Sith?
Well, here's an interesting note here, too, that I don't think everyone noticed. All of those kids were Force-sensitive.
All of them were? I only realized the ones that did the Force
only
pull
the
on
one
the broom.
because he Force pulled the broom. But did you notice the other kid that was sitting across from him when they were sitting on the floor was playing with toys and showing what was happening at that battle? That battle had ended mere moments ago in a far reaching part of the galaxy that they were nowhere near, that they had no way of knowing about. Yet he was doing a play-by-play. So I'm thinking that he saw through the Force what had happened, and he was showing the other kids.
I think you might be wrong, because we are not shown that they're doing this mere moments after this battle happened. There are some themes in Star Wars, in the Last Jedi. Sorry, there are some themes in the Last Jedi, and one of the big ones is letting go of the past. So let's talk about Luke Skywalker for a second.
Okay,
in
let's
regards
talk
to the Last
about
Jedi.
fuckery in this movie.
So I'm not talking about his fuckery right now. So one of the things about letting go of the past, we see that Luke Skywalker dies, right? He doesn't want to be the hero anymore. He's done with that. He's saying all the deeds that I did, those are legends, blah 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 blah. I think Luke realized that he could do more for the Resistance as a legend than he could as a person himself. That's why he does the whole force projection thing. He does a whole force projection onto Crate. Has this little spat with Kylo Ren, kind of talks some mad stuff on him, telling him, hey, I'm sorry, I failed you, yada, yada, yada. And there's this whole legend about Luke Skywalker facing down these New Order walkers and Kylo Ren, the supreme leader of the new First Order now. So I don't think it's something that happened mere moments. I think it's something that maybe they heard about a couple weeks ago, because these people are arms dealers. These people are, everybody on Canto Bight are arms dealers. They're going to know, oh, hey, the New Order just... God damn it, I keep calling it the New Order. The First Order just ordered a bunch more walkers, or they just ordered a bunch more of these, because they just got blown up on Canto Bight. Here's what happens. Stories are going to get passed around. These kids are little street rats. They hear everything that happens. Mm-hmm.
The little birds.
So, yeah, exactly. Game of Thrones, they're the birds, they're the spiders. So I think it was more than just retelling a story, and that's kind of showing that Luke is now a legend. And he's a legend. He's like they kept referring to it, they're now the ember that is going to light the fire that is going to burn down the First Order.
Okay. I can see that, yeah.
But I mean, also with that, though, too...
Eloquently put me, take a bow.
You've got to think that Luke has to realize that he's also kind of failed himself, I guess. Because, I mean, the purpose or not the purpose, but a key aspect of the Jedi is to let go of the past and continue forward and not look back. And Luke stopped. He just focused on the past and his mistakes, and I think kind of fell out of his own light and realized that the universe had come, or the galaxy had come back to the position it was because he had left.
I think if you create a Dark Lord of the Sith, you're going to kind of retreat to somewhere. I mean, look what happened to Ben Kenobi.
Yeah, Ben Kenobi did it.
Yeah, but I mean, also look at Yoda. Yoda created Dooku.
And he went to Dagobah.
Not as a result, though.
Yeah, not as a result. I mean...
But Dooku wasn't really a Dark Lord.
He
wasn't a Dark Lord of the Sith, yeah.
Yeah, not in the same way that Vader
But we have Kylo Ren that is, at least as far as we've seen, he is one of 2 Sith. If we can even count him as that, by the way.
Yeah, and now he doesn't have a second. That's what I'm wondering now. There's the rule of 2 is failing right now. I mean, he did what he was supposed to do when he killed his master.
Rule of 2 has been failing for a while.
Well, true.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, you had Sidious, and then you had Tyrannus,
Maul,
and then you
Dooku,
had Maul. Like, what the hell, man?
All up at the same time.
Yeah.
Not to mention he was also grooming Anakin.
And then there was Asajj Ventress thrown in the mix, too. Like, Jesus.
Yeah.
And at one point, all of them
I think the Rule of 2 has been thrown out.
Yeah, I think so.
Not canon. Legacy.
No, Asajj Ventress is canon. And one of the new books.
No, the Rule of 2. The Rule of 2 is not canon anymore.
Oh,
that's Legacy.
Really?
Yeah, that is a good point. It's hard for me to discount the Old Republic stuff as not canon anymore because it doesn't affect the new stories at all. Or it
kind of does if you still look at the Rule of 2.
Yeah, true, yeah. But then again, it just seems like it's been thrown out.
All right, so bringing it all back to Luke now. Let's continue talking about him. I want to hear your guys' stuff. I just had a big rant.
Okay. He saw in Kylo, or at Ben at the time, this darkness, and then he thought about killing him, but then he didn't, but then Ben, just at that moment, turning to Kylo, essentially, saw that, and I'm like, that's so not Luke. Like, I mean, he wasn't trained very well, to be honest. I mean, he's a self-taught Jedi, or close to it. So I guess that moment of, like, weakness and trying to go full Sith and murder your own apprentice, like, okay.
That full Sith, though? I mean, Jedi, in general, they kill Dark Jedi. Like, that's what they do. That's kind of their job.
Yeah.
And he saw Kylo Ren rising up as a Dark Jedi. Why not? I mean, I can understand he didn't wait until the actual situation came to fruition. There may have been, like they discussed in the movie, there may have been more time for Kylo to be redeemed and come over to the light side if Luke worked with him more. So he did kind of have that Sith impulsive thing like we saw with Anakin. So, I mean, I can see that. Maybe he wasn't untrained, or he was untrained to the point where he let his emotions at the time override what could have happened in the future.
Well, and I think that he redeemed himself pretty well, and he did just try to destroy the Jedi by destroying the Jedi Temple on, or the Jedi Force Tree. So I think he did a lot to try to redeem himself, try to bring balance to the Force. Yoda showing up blew my fucking mind. Like, all of a sudden,
that was really cool.
Yoda. Yeah, I loved it. Like, I thought that was cool.
That came on, and I definitely had the biggest grin on my face.
Yeah. And Yoda was being a little smartass the whole time. That was great. I loved that.
Oh, it was just like I think what I found cool about it, Yoda, is he didn't look CG like he does in the prequel trilogy. He looked like the old puppet Yoda, and I thought that was the coolest thing in the world.
That was the thing.
I had the biggest smile on my face. I'm like, that's Yoda.
They modeled the puppet. They absolutely made a CG puppet, and I thought that was neat as hell. I love that part.
But they didn't destroy the books.
No, the books survived. Yeah, I caught that.
Yeah, Rey stole those things.
When Yoda said she already has everything she needs, and Luke's like, she's more advanced in the Force than I thought. No, she just took the books, bro.
Yeah, she has the owner's manual.
Yeah, so that's another interesting thing about. I mean, maybe she's gonna be the one to restart the Order, or maybe the Order's not gonna be restarted at all, and those will just be kept as like I don't know. I
feel like the Force itself will in some way or another, recreate at least the Jedi and inevitably the Sith. But I think that...
I don't think those need to be a things. If we're talking like Star Wars philosophically, I don't think those need to be a things.
Yeah, no, I agree. There is the Ashla and there is the Bogan, and we don't need a Jedi and a Sith. Force users finding balance within themselves in both the dark and the light, that's all well and good. Have your own little sanctuary planet and don't fuck up the rest of the galaxy again.
But that's the thing, is that the Force is widespread. So there's going to have to be guidance, but I also think that this format of the Jedi is going to be better, because if we look at the Jedi from episodes 1 through 3, they were less philosophical Jedi and more war generals.
Well, that was the Emperor. He did that on purpose. He forced him into that position because he knew it would destroy them from the inside.
Yeah, but
I think that's
they were more what I'm getting at.
Well, that and the Republic Jedi, they were Jedi of the Republic. They weren't Jedi. I don't think they were Jedi of the Jedi Council. They weren't Jedi just to be Jedi. They were there to fight for the Republic. They kind of had a political bias in the whole thing.
Yeah,
they weren't there necessarily to fight for what was right. They were there for the Republic.
They were a magic military force.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I
think
think
they were fighting for the light side.
Yeah, I think that's where it's going to make a little bit of difference here, is that maybe there's going to be more of a gray area in where Rey goes. Whereas with, even if we look just at the way that the Jedi were and then how Luke was half-trained, so on and so forth, Yoda, as good as he was and as he was, he still was part of that format of Jedi. So maybe going forward with this kind of clean slate of the original design, we'll see something better come out of it as opposed to what the Jedi were as we've seen them so far.
Yeah,
so,
I honestly...
I hope she is the last Jedi. No, I hope going forward she is the last Jedi. And I hope that, I don't know, I guess I hope that what it comes down to is Kylo either A, gets killed. He is pretty much the embodiment of the dark side of the Force. Or B, he balances himself out. Because you can still see he is conflicted. He's trying really hard to be evil. Like, extremely hard.
Yeah, he is
like over the top evil.
Yeah, the middle school emo kid that's trying a little too hard. Yeah.
Exactly. He's kind of edgy.
Yeah, he's an edgelord. Absolutely.
So I hope at some point he balances himself out. Because we see a progression through the movies. So original trilogy, the light side is obviously very heavy in there. So yes. I think Anakin came in. I think he did in fact bring balance to the Force instead of leave it in darkness, you guys. Because he destroyed. Yeah.
Salacious Crumb! We had Star Wars trivia night and we lost. But we lost because there was a table of fucking 10. We came in fourth against fucking table of 10, table of 8, and
table 6.
And it was just me and Mike. And we came in fourth right after them. Yeah, Anyway.
What was I saying? Alright, so yeah, we see the light side of the Force is almost this tyrannical thing. They are a unstoppable object, and there is no unmoving force in their way in the original trilogy.
Yeah,
until Anakin stops up and he destroys them. He demolishes them. Yes, we can see it as evil. Genocide is always going to be an evil thing, but it did in fact bring balance to the Force. Up until
I think that's the important thing to know
too. The Empire rose.
And then he brought balance again by destroying the Emperor.
Yeah, balance is not something that's dictated by good or evil. Balance is balance. It's a completely neutral thing. And the Jedi at the time were not only doing things that weren't very Jedi-like, they were war generals, they were also greatly outnumbering the Sith. And that quite clearly isn't balance. So
no, absolutely not.
Anakin Skywalker did exactly what they believed he was going to do. He brought balance. It's just not the balance that they expected it to be or wanted it to be.
Okay, so we have that. We have the prequel trilogy. So then let's move into the original trilogy. We see a heavy emphasis on the dark side now. The pendulum came, it swung from the light side, pendulum went down, brought balance, and then swung to the complete polar opposite, right?
Yep.
Now it's all dark side all the time, and it's Luke and his merry band of rebels trying to take down the evil Empire. # the Empire did nothing wrong. and they're still trying to bring balance to the Force, whether they know it or not. They have their political goals, but it's also being backed by this whole concept of bringing balance. So we go through that movie. They end up destroying the Empire. We thought it brought balance to the Force at the end of Episode VI, right? Everything seemed well and good. There were Force ghosts, everybody. But then we move on. We get Episode VII, and turns out, boy, were we wrong. It is still a dark, dark place out there because the only Jedi left in existence hid himself away and cut himself off from the Force, right?
Yeah.
He cut himself off from the Force. So now that pendulum didn't swing back over to the light side, swung back all the way over to the dark side. So I'm hoping in this trilogy now kind of finally brings that pendulum back to the middle, and I hope Rey and Kylo just stop that pendulum in the middle.
It's interesting now because you've got Kylo Ren, who's quite clearly dark, and you've got Rey, who's quite clearly light, but they also have a little bit of they have a little bit of gray area in there too. So it's going to be interesting to see how this kind of whirlpool works here.
I think they're both extremely gray, if I'm being honest. Kylo Ren he's trying to be dark.
I'm talking about in action. In action so far, how they've demonstrated themselves on screen.
Even in action, Rey's kind of uses the dark side. She clearly.
She jumped into that dark pit.
Oh yeah, she was like, "Hey, dark side, tell me shit, woohoo!"
Yeah, exactly. She was tempted by the dark side, and she went into a full frontal. And she exposed herself straight to it. Yeah. But then Kylo, also not completely evil in his actions, he had the chance to kill his mother, right? Destroy his family so he could move on, so he could hopefully be that evil badass that he wanted to be. And what did he do? Didn't pull the trigger. Mm-hmm. I thought we were talking about Luke.
Yeah, well, we were. But his part of the movie was, he was more the glue that bound other things together. It wasn't about him, you know?
Which, I think it's good. I think it's good that,
I'm fine with that
he isn't this returning, great light in the sky. I like what they've done with his character.
I think he is the returning great light in the sky, but I think he realized that he can do much more as a myth. Like I was saying earlier, he can do much more for the Resistance as a myth than he ever can as a person.
Absolutely.
And that's why he did the whole projection, and then he went into the Force.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's not returning as the main character type deal.
Yeah,
he's a very important supporting role that's going to do good things.
Do either of you know any other time in lore when a Jedi, or a Sith for that matter, just chose to go? Because I think Luke just chose to go at that moment. I think that didn't tire him out enough that it was going to kill him. Yoda, I think that was old age, so I don't think that he just chose to pass. But I think Luke was just like, okay, my job in this plane of existence is done, and bye-bye, off he goes. Ben Kenobi. But he was struck down by Vader.
He chose to, though.
Yeah.
He wasn't really struck down by Vader. The lightsaber didn't make contact with him. As soon as the lightsaber started to pass through him, he was gone, rapturized.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that is a good point if you rewatch it.
And
plus,
I disagree.
He could have beat Vader easy, super easy.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to disagree.
Oh, no. Okay, if you watch Rebels, okay.
Two shots Darth Maul when he comes back.
Yeah, just straight up.
Oh my goodness.
Darth Maul, no problem.
He is an ancient old man.
That's been studying the Sith forever, and he's cybernetically enhanced, and he beat fucking Qui-Gon, almost beat Kenobi, and during the Clone Wars,
that's what I'm talking about.
Canon,
Obi-Wan was an old man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
fighting Darth fucking Vader.
Yeah, but Vader's also the weakest he's ever been. As Vader, he was weaker than he ever was as Anakin Skywalker.
Oh yeah, his power levels went way down as soon as he went full dark side.
I still think he would have kicked his ass.
I think that's the whole point, is that Ben absolutely could, and if you watch Rebels, you really see that. But I think that Ben 100% could have destroyed Vader. He chose not to, though, because he knew he was the chosen one. He knew he had a destiny, that destiny being destroy the Emperor.
Okay, we will argue this later. We're going to move on.
Okay.
All right, so I think that might be enough about Luke. I think we have beat Luke to death at this point, even though I'm sure we could probably keep going on him. But let's move on. What do we want to talk about next, guys? We could talk about Snoke, and I could fucking bitch.
I'm down to bitch about Snoke too.
Okay, so do you mind if I go first?
By all means.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, crack. That was me cracking my neck, getting ready for this.
Here we go.
I fucking hate the way that Star Wars does that with bad guys, and not even. I'm gonna sound like an asshole. Not original trilogy. Original trilogy had the bad guys. We had 3 movies to grow to hate these bad guys before they finally killed them off. But since the prequel trilogy, we've had a bad guy for like 1 episode, and then they're dead. So let's look at episode 1. We had Darth Maul, right? Mm. Darth Maul was a badass. We saw Darth Maul for maybe 20-25 minutes throughout the entire 2-hour running of that episode, and they killed him off. We didn't get any story about him, no build-up. We didn't get time to hate the guy. They just straight up killed him off. Okay. Episode 2, right? Who did we have in episode 2? Did they kill anybody off in episode 2?
I guess it'd be Sidious, and then they killed him off at the beginning of 3. Not Sidious, Tyrannus.
Oh, Dooku, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they built up...
He's shitty, though.
They built up Dooku... I don't know. They built him up to kind of be... He was the pretty much the leader, or quote-unquote leader of the Confederacy.
Okay.
And they built him up to be this bad guy. Big, huge bad guy, right? He's leading the Confederacy. That's who they've been fighting for the last 2 movies. Mm-hmm. And then unceremoniously kill him off in the beginning of episode 3. And then they have the balls. Oh, episode 2. Introduce Jango Fett. Kill him off. Are you fucking kidding me, Star Wars?
Well, I mean, there is a history in Star Wars of having these characters have minor roles and then suddenly have a huge fan base, and they make a huge effect, and then they show up in other material. Like there's a whole lot of stuff about Tyrannus, and it's from books, it's from the TV show. He's a lot deeper than that.
I definitely, I understand that, but we're looking at the movies,
Jabba has shown up on screen twice. Jabba's shown up on screen twice, and yet he's such a big frickin' deal. And his little bastard of a rat, salacious crumb.
You're a little bit salty of that. Out of all the flavors, you chose to be salty. But no, I mean, I want to talk about just the movies, though, because that's kind of what we're talking about this episode.
All right.
Very loosely, apparently. But no, they introduced Jango Fett in episode 2 and immediately kill him off, same episode, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then episode 3 rolls around. They introduce the toughest motherfucker in the galaxy, General Motherfucking Grievous, as Mace Windu would say. And he gets killed. The dude has 4 lightsabers, and he gets killed by a fucking blaster.
Well, to be fair, though,
we're gonna just hold on a second.
Yeah, give him time. He's got more to go.
Then original trilogy. So now original trilogy. We build up. We get this awesome arc with the bad guys. It's cool. We learn to hate them or love them because #Empire did nothing wrong, and then they kill him. That's fine. We had 3 fucking movies of character development with these dudes. And then, so cool. Original trilogy, out of the way. It's perfect. No other series can ever beat it ever. New trilogy. We see Snoke in holograms for like 5 fucking seconds in The Force Awakens. We see Snoke a couple times do some cool stuff. Like, the entire time I was watching him, and we were finally seeing Snoke, like, in person. I'm like, golly, this guy is big. This guy's huge. Like, he is heads taller than Rey and Kylo. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah. He's a tall motherfucker.
But we get absolutely no character development. I was looking forward to that.
Okay, but in the original
Snoke was
series...
a super mysterious figure. I was looking forward to seeing him get developed, and we get to learn more about him and grow to hate him.
Yeah, but in the original series, we didn't get to see anything about the Emperor either. We didn't learn about him till the prequels. He was just as mysterious as Snoke was.
But that was his whole persona, though. He was still in like all the episodes up until then, but he was operating through Darth Vader. That was kind of the Emperor's whole persona back then. Is he was supposed to be almost this untouchable, deified figure for the Empire.
I can see what you're saying there.
I see there.
Which
yeah,
was supposed to be. Sorry. Continue?
He's the shadow behind the Empire. Like, most people in the galaxy didn't even know what the guy would have looked like. Yeah, no, I get you.
Exactly, like a mob boss. The mob boss isn't going to go out and do all the dirty work.
Yeah.
He's going to send his fucking cronies. But with Snoke, same thing happened with him. He was a super mysterious figure in Episode VII. We see him in Episode VIII. I'm pumped. I think Snoke is a cool bad guy. And then they kill him. And he had absolutely no development. That honestly, like, when that happened, I did, like, in the movie theater, I kind of threw my hands up. I was like, what the fuck?
I did too. I'll be 100% honest, I did too. I was like, I probably pissed the guy in front of me off, because I'm like, what? That was so anticlimactic. Holy shit.
Yeah, I definitely have to
also,
agree there. I don't understand why they do that.
That asshat Snoke fucking, he talks about how, I feel like I'm swearing quite a bit right now, but he talks about, I'm just kind of passionate about this. He talks about how he can see the future, and he can read Kylo's mind, and he knows him, and he's describing all this stuff at the same time. You turn your lightsaber towards your true enemy, you turn it on, and you kill him. Asshat, you were just describing your own death.
Yeah, that was the whole kind of neat thing about it. He thought he was talking about Rey, and his thoughts were about killing Rey, but no, it was actually about killing him, so he kind of tricked him in his mind, showed him what he wanted to see.
I was just upset of how unceremoniously they killed the guy without even developing him. I would have rather have seen him as the big bad guy through this series than emo Kylo Ren.
I'm looking forward to seeing Kylo Ren if he actually steps into that role. I don't think he will.
Yeah, it's more so that Snoke was just a plot device to make Kylo Ren who he is in the end of this movie, which I understand why they did it. I don't think it was a good way to do it. I think it was a pretty shitty way to do it.
Well, I think he has potential to be one of the more badass villains, because I thought he was a douchebag, starting out like Episode 7. Like, I thought, okay, who is this douche in the mask? But I'm really looking forward to seeing his. I've kind of enjoyed his character development. I have, and then I want to see him like step into this, because Armitage. Hux, is a pussy-ass little redheaded bitch.
General Hux?
Yeah, he's a little bitch. So I don't want him to have anything to do with my First Order.
I agree with you. I like how, I do like that at some point Kylo Ren kind of stepped up, and as soon as fucking General Hux started to question him, he just fucking checked him against the wall, and he's like, "Get out! You know your place. I'm the Supreme Leader."
Just kidding. What's your order?
Yeah.
Well, bitch. I think that's played very well. By the way, I just side note, all the acting. Like I enjoyed everyone's performance. On its own, I enjoyed the shit out of the movie. Lore wise, I have some problems. I'll admit, but just like I said, on its own.
That is what Mike and I were actually talking about before the show, before you popped in. We were talking about, like, I don't really think it was a bad movie. I said I was disappointed. And one of the main things I'm disappointed at, it's the Star Wars movie with the longest runtime out of all the other Star Wars movies. What I'm disappointed in is that there are, like, 5 story beats, like 5 actual moments that really matter for the story. And I'm estimating. And the rest of it is just kind of filler stuff.
Yeah, but it's awesome filler stuff. With lots of explosions and running animals and shit.
Oh my god, you fucking barbarian. That's not the only thing that matters. I am looking for content, and I was thoroughly starved in a 2.5 hour long Star Wars movie, a space opera, which should have nothing but story, and it had like 5 main story beats that actually mattered in 2.5 hours.
See, again though, my argument there is, we don't know whether or not some of the things that look like nothing are going to be important in the next movie.
Yes, there is that one that absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, to bring up one of the big arguments people have is the hyperspace tracking. Everyone's like, where the fuck did this come from? This came out of left field. This hasn't existed before. And,
it's called new technology. It's how many years in the future? Holy fuck, guys.
Well, in Rogue One...
I said that too.
Yeah, in Rogue One, there is one line where Jyn Erso's getting the schematics, and she's looking at the stuff that the Empire is developing, and she literally says hyperspace tracking. Like,
good point.
Yeah, she's like, holy shit, they're developing hyperspace tracking, and, it's just like, it's one line in a movie that nobody paid attention to, that is now a very important thing and counters one of the bigger arguments that people keep having about the new movie.
Yeah, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, again, we don't know whether or not in the next movie there's going to be a bunch of stuff that lines up, and you're going to go, oh, holy shit, now I get it.
Now, I mean, they're very well maybe. That may be the case. Same thing kind of happened with, by the way, I'm a huge horror fan. Same thing kind of happened with Insidious, like the Insidious series. Everything started to line up by the third movie, and it was fucking cool. It was so cool. We'll talk about horror some other time. But if I'm looking, you watched The Conjuring too, I think.
Yeah, you guys made me watch things. Tied me to a chair, might as well. Damn it.
But anyway, like we were talking about earlier, Mike, I'm paying to go see this movie in theater. If I see it at home, I'm quote unquote paying to see it at home. No illegal activities, obviously. I'm paying for the Blu-ray, but I'm paying for this movie, right? This is a experience. I'm paying for the experience of seeing this movie. It's like we were talking about earlier. It's like with a game. So who here bought the original EA Battlefront?
I did. Yeah. No, I didn't. No, I did not. I had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, see, I did, and it was Star Wars, and I was super excited. So you know what I did? I dropped $80 on the fucking collector's edition, right? I paid $80 for like 5 maps.
Yep.
That's kind of how I felt with this movie. I paid $14 for my ticket because I bought it online and convenience fees and everything like that. And I go there and I get 5 story beats.
But here's the thing.
It was a content drought. Sure,
Every story has its own thing, and that's the way storytelling has been working recently. If you read more contemporary, fiction, if you watch like a lot of shows on, say, like Netflix and Hulu, that's how things are happening now. Telling multiple stories at once. That's the style of fiction right now. That's in order to keep audiences' attention. Because if they stuck with the primary story, they're afraid that audiences would get bored. Now, I think that's underestimating, especially Star Wars fans. But I do enjoy having like multiple things that are going on at once. Like, look at Stranger Things.
I was just going to say, look at Stranger Things.
Absolutely. It's 6 different stories. Like, you got a teen drama. You got a bunch of kids playing real-life D&D. You got just straight-up horror. Like, it's all these different stories. Parents' worst nightmare, Taken type shit. Everything is its own story, practically its own genre, but then it all comes together and it's awesome.
Yeah, so
but
I mean,
but it all comes together within that season. You don't have to wait a year to see how they defeat the Demogorgon.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with where you're coming from, Josh.
We have to wait 2 years to see what happens with the rest of this movie.
We got the Solo movie coming up. Looking forward to that. See how they do that.
Okay. I'm still iffy on that movie. I don't know.
It's Star Wars and it's a movie, and I'm probably gonna love it. So I'm easy to please.
All right, so I think we're getting towards the end of the episode. So is there anything that you guys want to talk about before we go ahead and end?
All right, yeah, I'm going to open myself up to some abuse here, and I know what I'm doing when I say this. But, man, I love me some porgs. They're cute little things. And when Chewbacca was eating one and they gave it those puppy dog eyes, I was like, oh, man. I'm going to give myself a little plushie.
You are part of the problem. You're 100% part of the problem. Maybe I'm just not fun. Maybe somewhere that I don't know, I have some German blood and I'm just not fun. I fucking hate the Porgs.
Dude, there's a little comic relief in there. Even the comic relief of the entire movie, by the way, was awesome.
Oh my god, no! You suck it!
You
suck it!
When Kylo gave that look to Armitage, like in the not the AT-AT whatever it's called now, and they just gave him that look and the whole thing.
Gorilla Walkers.
That was funny.
I saw them called Gorilla Walkers. I think that's their name. Oh, speaking of those, did you see there were AT-ATs standing next to them?
I did not.
Next to the the First Order walkers?
No, I didn't.
They were tiny compared to those things. Just to give you a scale. Watch it again. Look for those guys. They're there. They're just tiny. But fuck Porgs and fuck the comedic relief. All right, it is not. Your mom jokes are not Star Wars, Poe. You piece of shit. In the very beginning, within the first couple minutes of the movie, there is a your mom joke thrown at General Hux.
I love them. Okay, that opening part where I'm waiting for Hux, a tall guy, kind of pasty. I love that. I like
it's slapstick.
It was. It was great.
It's cheap. It is cheap humor. A your mom joke in a Star Wars movie. What else? There were other jokes. I think I fucking sighed more during the jokes than anything else in the movie. Oh, and the Porgs. I hated the Porgs.
It was a 2.5-hour movie, okay? You had to break it up somehow. You couldn't have an emotional roller coaster ride the whole time. You had to laugh, okay? You have to have the little cute little fucking Porgs in there, man. Man,
Jar Jar Binks. You like Jar Jar Binks.
I do like Jar Jar Binks.
Oh my god.
Yes, I do. I like Jar Jar. Me so likes the Jar Jars.
Oh my god.
There's going to be an angry mom outside my house. There's going to be pitchforks and torches, man. I like fucking Jar Jar. I'll admit it.
I did not know that about you, and I'm actually kind of ashamed to be your friend right now.
You know, I always pretended not to like him, but you know what? Fuck it. I like
Jar
Jar.
Jar.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I like the Bombad Generals, man. Fuck.
So, god damn it. I hate you so much right now. No, okay. You're talking about the comedic relief.
Yes.
The original trilogy did that, but you know how they did it? They did it classy-like. Sure, there were some high-tension moments, but then Leia said to Han, I love you. Han said, I know. That's comedic relief. And that's not a fucking your mom joke.
That wasn't comedy.
That was comedy. That was the joke. That was, yes, it was. That was like that classic, almost like vaudevillian humor, where it's not upfront in your face.
They told, oh my god, I'm blanking on his name. They told Harrison Ford, we don't have a line for you, just say something. And that's what he said.
And Harrison Ford is a classy and funny dude. That was classy humor.
I did pick up the humor on that.
I thought it was humorous.
Clearly, something's wrong here.
Spencer. Spencer's wrong.
Okay, what other comic relief was in the any other Star Wars movie, period? I mean...
Oh, any other Star Wars movie? Motherfucking C-3PO, Episode 2.
Oh, when he...
You know what I'm talking about.
Got put on a battle droid? Yeah, that was actually... Yeah. Okay. No,
when his head popped off and they drug his head by his body and he said, I feel so beside myself.
Okay,
fuck
that
you, C-3PO.
I did sigh. I mean, how old were we when we saw that? Yeah, and I still sighed. No, but I think that the way they did the humor in this one, it had a way of stopping the action for, moments at a time. So that is a complaint I have about it, but I enjoyed it enough, and it kind of had that dark kind of humor, like we're in a very serious situation and having a laugh, and that appealed to me a lot.
But they were all like childish jokes. I don't know. For me, it detracted from it. Again, that's another one of those bitches I had. It detracted from the movie. I think I'm German. Because I apparently hate fun stuff. But
you're telling me you saw a porg, you just stomp it. Like you wouldn't.
Oh, 100%.
Boy, I'd breed those fuckers.
Mike and I were talking before that.
Crazy pigeon guy, but with porgs.
We were talking before you came, and we were talking about the porgs and how, sure, the porgs are cute. They were intentionally meant to be cute and meant to be a marketing thing for kids to buy. Kind of like how BB-8 was for Episode VII, right?
I can deny that.
BB-8 was this cute little droid, and it was something easy to make a plushie out of for people who can buy. BB-8 was a part of the story.
Yeah.
Porgs were like those hula girls on a truck driver's cab.
Yeah,
that's all they were
wrong.
in the entire movie. They put them in the Millennium Falcon to be a little hula girl on a truck driver's dash.
Yeah.
They gave absolutely nothing to the movie except for marketing.
I think they just changed the tone for some scenes. And what I liked about it created this world because, I mean, the planet they were on, which the name I can't fucking remember.
Are you talking about Octo?
Yes.
Octo?
I think that's right. You could hear them, crying in the background, and then there was, you hear the rack, and they reminded me a lot of. There's this Norwegian cliff bird that the crazy Norwegians will.
A puffin?
Is it a puffin? That they'll get those big nets and catch them out of the air with, and I think that's what they were based on was puffins. And,
Oh, yeah.
No, I
that's
mean
cool.
that would be absolutely fine with me if they were in the background and they weren't putting the fucking Millennium Falcon.
Oh, okay. No, I see your complaint. No, I get you. No, and you're right. I do believe marketing had a lot to do with it. And I am part of the problem because I will have those.
I mean, it's Disney. They're gonna take any chance they can to make cute toys and make money off of them.
Oh, for sure. But I think we're reaching the end of this episode. It's already been, let me see, 10, 20...
An hour?
Almost an hour? Maybe an hour?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we can always pick up another time and go into
it has been
on specific spots.
Yeah, it's been over an hour so far. So I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to call it, gents. So final thoughts from either of you. Let's, Mike, final thoughts?
I would say while 8 may be lackluster for some people, I would wait until 9 because there may be some things that surprise you.
Okay. Spence?
I loved the movie for the movie's sake, and as Star Wars, I felt, as part of the canon, I felt like it was lacking at some points, but I still enjoyed what it added. Also, I heart Porgs.
God damn it.
You are part of the problem. Final thoughts from me. I feel like I kind of bitched this entire movie, or this entire episode about the movie, and it may seem like I didn't like it. I did. I liked it. It was a Star Wars movie. Of course I fucking liked it. But, no, I had my complaints, but it's Star Wars. I loved it. I was a little disappointed leaving the theater, but maybe my second watch through will be better. But if you haven't seen it already, first of all, why did you listen? We just spoiled the whole thing for you. And second, go see it. Go buy your ticket now. So I think that's going to be the end of the episode. I'm going to go ahead and see you later, nerds, and thank you for choosing Nerd Stop. Hey nerds, one last thing. We want you guys to contribute to this podcast by sending in your questions or topics to discuss. And when I say questions, I mean any question about anything. You can reach us on Gmail at nerdstopppc@gmail.com or on Twitter at nerdstoppod. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for choosing Nerd Stop. Have a nice day.